everybody? How's everybody doing? Colleen here with Chalk Couture. Coming to you live. Sorry, just gonna mute this out. I'm trying to get my iPad going here. I'm coming in doing a quick little project tonight. I just want to make sure that you guys can see me. So I got my iPad going. I'm kind of in a new setup here, so my camera's a little set up differently, so I just wanted to make sure I had the right angle going. Using an oldie but a goodie. I love this saying. Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be. So I had this old board and I just wanted to change out the design. So I went ahead and erased the old farmhouse design that I had on here and decided that I want to put a new design on my chalkboard. So I went with one of my favorites. So as we always do with our new transfers, we want to label the back. So I just labeled Grow Old with me on the back. And with the transfers, hello Shannon! With our transfers, when we are removing them from the carrier sheet, we always like to remove them, especially the larger transfers. This is an 8.5 by 11. So we remove them like this just so that it doesn't, because it is sticky on here. Just try to be careful when you're removing it. So it's best to kind of pull the carrier sheet away from the transfer like that. So that way the transfer doesn't stick to itself. You can see my my fingers are sticking on there pretty good. So if you do have an oopsie moment and the transfer sticks to itself, don't panic. Just get it right into your tub of water. I always have one handy right off to the side, off camera. I have my little pan of water handy right here. You just immediately put that transfer right into water and just gently peel it apart. And you should be good to go. You just don't want to stretch out that silkscreen area. So what we normally do is, if this is your very first time using your silkscreen for the very first time, you want to fuzz it up. And that basically is exactly what it sounds like. You're just taking like an old towel, or you can use your shirt or your pants or whatever you want to use, but you are literally taking the fuzz from that fabric or the lint or whatever you want and just putting it on the back of your sticky transfer. And the reason that we do that is so that your transfer doesn't stick so hard to the surface. I actually did that the very first time I used a transfer on glass, and it was not pretty. I wound up stretching my transfer out and could not use it again. So lesson learned. Just don't forget to fuzz up your transfer the very first time that you use it. And sometimes you need to do it again even after you used it a few times. As you can see, this is pretty sticky, and I've used this transfer a few times. And I have, in between uses, I have cleaned it. So it does bring the sticky back once you've cleaned it after each use. So I do like to fuzz it up again, even after I've used it a few times. I'd rather err on the side of caution than ruin another transfer, but that's just me. So once we just get some of the fuzz on here like so, feel pretty good that it's not going to stick, especially on glass. That is one that I really recommend really fuzzing it up really good so that it doesn't stick on there. So basically you're just going to put your transfer down onto the surface that you're using, whether it be chalkboard, glass, wood, burlap, any different medium that you can think of. You're just going to go ahead and lay your transfer down. I just kind of tend to eyeball things. Not very meticulous as far as making sure that things are centered. I just kind of use the old eyeball method. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this, I'm trying to decide if I want to do it more to the, you know what, I think I'm going to put this maybe a little bit more towards the bottom, because I actually have another transfer called Boho Flowers that I'm a little bit obsessed with right now. So I think I'm going to put the the sentiment more towards the bottom of my chalkboard, and then I'm going to come in and do like a Boho Flowers, maybe across the top. And I'll show you what that transfer kind of looks like this. It has a beautiful big piece across the top, and then let me open this up for you. It also has some other pieces in here as well. I'll show you. It's got some cool arrows in here like that. And then this was the big piece. That's beautiful. I love that piece. And I actually tried in another project hand painting with chalk on this too. And I think I put a picture of that to show you guys on my Facebook page. So that's pretty cool too, that you can kind of use the chalk paste to paint with as well. That was kind of a fun project, and I painted on canvas. But I thought that this, let's see, maybe now that I'm looking at this, maybe I might rethink this and do this. Maybe I might do this kind of up top and have this at the bottom. Probably should have looked at these before. Or do I want to do this? It's okay if it goes off a little bit. I don't mind that. Yeah, I think I actually may use this again and just do this across the top and have the sentiment down here. I think that'll be pretty. Let's go with that. I'll go with that option. But in the meanwhile, we'll go ahead and just see how quick and easy this is to just get the chalk paste right on here. I'm going to use white chalk paste, and this is the beautiful Nantucket chalk paste. So I thought I'd use Nantucket for the best, and I'm going to use white for the rest. So I have my stir in here, and I've already gone ahead and given my chalk paste a nice quick stir, just so it has the consistency of like a yogurt-like consistency that we're looking for. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to work from the top down, because I like, there's a couple different methods. Because it is chalk paste, it is going to go on wet and dry pretty quickly, especially because I have the air conditioner on in here. It's going to dry pretty quickly. So I'm going to use what we call like the pull down method. So I'm going to apply chalk paste to the first two lines and then pull down my transfer. Another option that I could do is apply the chalk paste and then wet a paper towel and just cover it with the wet paper towel and then just go to the next few lines. I'm not really a big fan of that option, only because I have paper towels that have ridges on them, and I notice that sometimes you can see the ridges on the finished piece, but it's just personal preference, so whichever you like better. I just like the pull down the transfer method personally. So here we go. Enough talking. Let's just go for it, and you guys can see. And a little bit of chalk paste does go a long way. I actually put a lot on there, but we're not going to need all that. It's tiny words here, so we're just going to do a little bit. We're just covering the silkscreen area. I'm not going to do the arrow, just because I just like the words. Just personal preference. So we'll do this. Again, just covering just the silkscreen area, and then getting all that excess right off. Making sure that we don't have any lines, and we're putting all that excess right back into our jar. I do apply a little bit more pressure. I don't know if you can see that in the screen, but once I apply a little pressure, you can see that it really takes all that excess right off. Back into our jar we go. And here's where I mentioned the pull down method. So we're just gonna pull this transfer down, making sure that we're not stretching, so we're evenly pulling down from both sides. So you can see that came through. Now I'm going to stop right there, and it's okay if I gently just let that go right back over. It's okay. Oop, it's just going to want to roll on me, but that's okay too. Okay, I'm going to get another squeegee, and now I'm just going to go over the best, because I want to do that in, what did I say this was? Oh my gosh, that quick it went out of my head. Nantucket. How did I forget that? I'm going to do Nantucket with the best in Nantucket. Again, just making sure all my lines are out. And making sure that the whole silkscreen area section is covered. Pretty easy to do this, and it comes out so pretty. And I love that you can mix and match the different transfer sets. That's pretty cool to me. Okay, make sure all my lines, I'm not seeing any lines in there, because sometimes that does come through too once you pull back the transfer. Getting all that excess chalk paste off. And again, we're just going to slowly pull down. Hello, Rhonda. And again, see how easy that was? Look how pretty that looks. The Nantucket looks so good on the chalkboard. Okay, and again, we can just lightly just let that fall back. And the only reason that I'm doing that is because I'm going from color to color and I don't want the chalk paste to dry. You can see how the white already dried on there. Now, if the chalk paste had dried on top of the silk screen, when I pulled it back, it would literally just come right up with the transfer, and we don't want that to happen, obviously. We don't want the chalk paste to dry on top of the silk screen. That kind of defeats the purpose. So I know I'm a little bit off camera here, and I apologize. I'm actually just going to slide you guys down just a little. Sorry for it jumbling. Just so you can catch the very bottom of my chalkboard here. I'm just on a tiny little desk. Just catching the bottom of my transfer here. Just to get these last couple words. Hopefully that's not a little bubble in there. Because I did forget to make sure that I didn't have any bubbles in my transfer. I don't think that is, but let's check. I forgot to mention that. When I put my transfer down, I forgot to check to make sure there weren't any bubbles. And I got chalk paste on my hand, but that's okay. Okay. And you can kind of see that the Nantucket's already starting to dry on its own. So we'll just pull this back, and like I said, hopefully that wasn't a bubble in there, but that's not a big deal because what I could do is just wash my transfer and wash off if I goofed and just lay my transfer back down and pick that back up again. This transfer is really sticky. That's kind of crazy to me because I've used it a few times. And that was perfect. There wasn't a bubble. You can see in there. This bottom is such a tiny font, it is kind of hard to see. But it does say "is yet to be" by Robert Browning. I don't know if you can see that in there. So what I'm doing, I'm going to move my chalkboard for 1 second. Let me just put my transfer in the water real quick because I want to show you how to properly clean the transfer. Give me 1 second. I just don't want this to fall over while I move move my chalkboard real quick. And I'm going to bring in my little bucket that I mentioned that I have. And my iPad just fell over. Sorry. Give me 1 sec. Let me just log back in there. I don't know why that shut off. There we go. Okay, let me set that to the side. Okay, so we have just a bucket of water setting off to the side, and what I normally do is just get all the chalk paste off of my silkscreen transfer. Just gently rub my hand over the top of the transfer to get all that chalk paste off. And it doesn't matter if the chalk paste stains your transfer, because some of the chalk paste does have, it's all organic pigment in there, and some of it is a little bit darker and it will stain the actual transfer, and that's okay. Just as long as the silkscreen area is clean, you are good to go and you can use it again. Not a big deal. So once I pretty much have all that chalk paste off, and it's okay, the sticky side is on the back, it's okay if it's touching on the front. So what I want to do is grab my towel. I'm just going to slide my bucket back over there and bring my towel here. And so what I do is I start with the side that we chalked on. So this is the chalk side, and we start with the disinfectant wipe. So what we do is we make sure that we're getting all of that chalk paste off and getting it all out of the silkscreen area. And then we flip it over, and it is already starting to get sticky again, believe it or not, after we had it in the water. And then we make sure that we're getting all of the chalk paste out of the silkscreen area from the back side. And this disinfectant wipe is going to get all that fuzz that we put on the transfer back off. And it's okay, and actually you can probably see that I got a piece of my hair in there. That's fine. And some of the lint is going to stay on there. That's not a big deal. And there's my hair again. Everything is going to get stick. It is a sticky transfer. So long as your silk screen area, oh my gosh, this hair just does not want to get off of here. So long as your silk screen area is clear, you are fine. Not a big deal. So once this is nice and cleaned off, you can just set this to the side to dry. My hands are still sticking to it. And then once that is dry, all that you do is you're going to make sure that you have the back side that's labeled. This is your shiny side. That's going to go to your sticky side, and you just line it up like that and stick it right back on, and right back into your package you go. And that's all there is to it. And then you can use that transfer again and again. And the great thing is that you can use this transfer, and you can use the like the Couture ink with it and make a shirt with the same exact transfer, and make a shirt with this saying as well. So that's pretty cool. But let's get back to the chalkboard. I'm going to set that aside to dry. So we'll come back to the chalkboard, and let's bring this back over here, because I want to add the, sorry, I'm just going to slide that out of my way. I missed my big table that I used to have. I kind of shrunk down to a tiny little table up here. I'm just going to put my squeegees over here in water too, because I'm going to clean those off. I'm going to give my paste a quick stir again, because I've left the lids open for a little bit. Like I said, I do have the air conditioner on, so it will dry out a little bit. And worst case scenario, if your chalk paste does start to dry out a little bit, add just a little tiny bit of water, and that will get it back to its yogurt-like consistency. But I do recommend that you do keep the container on in between your projects. And here I am talking and talking and talking. I should have had the lids on there. But it's okay. If it gets a little dried out, you can always just add water. Meanwhile, all that talking, my chalk paste has completely dried. So we are good to go. Hello, Jessica. So we are good to go. So I can go ahead and add my, hello. I can go ahead and add my Boho Flowers to the top. So I think that'll be really pretty, just to add something really kind of classic and pretty to the top of this piece up here. And again, I know that the flowers are going to kind of get cut off, but yeah, I don't mind that. I think that'll be pretty. And I may or may not, I think I'm just going to do them in white, and I may come back in and add some of the Nantucket, like pops of color of Nantucket, into this big flower in the center here by painting it in. So that I may decide to do that. But let's just go ahead and get this transfer again. We always label the back of our transfers, like I mentioned earlier. And because it is a rather large transfer, we're going to peel the carrier sheet away from the transfer, like so. And this one is a little big, and it is a little bit odd shaped, and it is super sticky. I have only used this one once. Hello, Debbie. So, and again, I'm working in a tiny little space here, and this is an odd shaped transfer, but just carefully, just take your time, no rush. And just slowly peel that off, like so. There we go. Okay, get my fingers off of there, and we're going to go ahead and give this a quick buzzing with our towel, just like we did with the other transfer. Let me grab another towel. Just get some buzzing on there. And it's sticking to my arms, it's sticking to everything. Okay, almost there. right, so let's get this kind of positioned. Yeah, and some of my arm hair. Thank God I don't have a lot of it. I was just thinking to myself as I was saying that you could probably use it for waxing, right? Who knew? Chalk Couture transfers, not only are they awesome home decor art, but they're also cool for waxing your arms. I don't think they'd be too happy with me saying that. Alright, let's get this down. Now, this time I'm going to remember this time and make sure I don't have any air bubbles. Fortunately, it worked out the last time that I didn't. But, I just forgot to mention it when I laid down the first transfer. But it worked out in the end. I didn't have any bubbles in it. So long as you're not feeling any bubbles in the silkscreen area, that's what we're looking for. Yeah, hashtag truth, right? Okay, so it's feeling pretty good. And like I said, I don't mind that it kind of goes off the sides. That doesn't really bother me. I think that kind of looks cool. So I'm just going to run with it and see how it goes. But, and like I said, I think I'm just going to go for all white. So what I'm going to do, this is the first one that kind of jumped out at me in my little bin of squeegees over here. So let's just grab this one. Just making sure that my chalk paste looks good. And I love my little 3-ounce jars because these fit the squeegees perfectly. So I am going to go ahead, get in here, and I'm grabbing a lot of chalk paste because I can always put back whatever I don't use. And I am going to go super quick with this. Watch how quick I go. I am literally going right down and covering all of this silkscreen area with this chalk paste. See how fast this goes? Right down, right across. I'm not even concerned that I'm not getting these little guys over here. 1, 2, 3. So easy. Every time I say that, I almost want to say, so easy a caveman can do it from those old Geico commercials. But it's true. It is so easy and so fast. Alright, so we are more than halfway done. Get a little more. And wait until you see how beautiful these come out. Alright, right here in this corner. And that is pretty much all she wrote. I'm just going over one more time. I am putting a lot of pressure on here because I did put a lot of chalk paste on there and I am stingy and I want my chalk paste back. Look at all that I just put back in there. So I'm going over it even a little more pressure and getting all that chalk paste back on my squeegee because I want to put that back in there. There we go. Alright, here we go. And I am going to make a mad dash because I'm going to take this off and I'm going to run this to my sink. Heck yeah, Jess. You got to be stingy with that chalk paste. I want to get a lot of projects out of it. Alright, I just did a no-no and I just pulled from the corner. So I'm going to stop myself right there. Because I don't want to stretch out this transfer because I like it too much. So I am going to pull from equal pressure on both sides. There we go. Almost done. Look how easy that was and look how beautiful these boho flowers are. Sorry, you'll see it in 1 second as soon as I get my big unhairy nail arm out of the way. Oh my gosh. Isn't that stunning? Those flowers are so gorgeous to me. And I didn't even have to do anything except smear chalk paste over a transfer. Isn't that amazing? That's all I had to do. And they look gorgeous. I'm just going to throw my transfer on the floor and being bad and doing that for 1 second because I was going to... Isn't it beautiful, Debbie? And it's so cool because, like I said, I can take like a dab of this and put this on a paper plate and then add just a tiny, tiny little bit of water and take a paintbrush and paint all of these petals. And do any colors that I want and just paint in all these different flowers. It comes out so beautiful. Or I can leave it just like this if I want to. Either way, whatever you want to do, it's completely your call. And see what I was saying about how it kind of went off? It doesn't even matter. I don't even mind that it kind of just ended right there. I think that looks cool. So, yeah, this is staying in my room. I'm really, really thrilled with it. I'm one of those, I love, like, simplicity. So, for me, this is just simple and is, like, one of my most favorite sayings. And, yeah, it's going to hang in my room. So, I thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And thanks, Deb. I like simple, too. I like it clean and yeah, just simple. So, thanks so much for watching, guys, and if you are interested in purchasing any of these transfers, I would love for you to stop on by my online store, which I will post in one momentito in the comments below. And if you are interested in becoming a member of my team, I would be so happy to have you. And you could simply reach out to me via Facebook PM, and I would be more than thrilled to go over all the amazing perks of being a designer with Chalk Couture. And last but not least, if you would like to share my video, you could hit the little blue button on the left-hand bottom section of your screen. I would be so happy. You all have a fantastic evening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.